Welcome to Inside Leduc. My name is Tarah, Flynn, and I will be your host today. My intent to this podcast is to create a platform for businesses in the Leduc region to promote themselves. So we not only learn about the products and the services being offered, but also who we are supporting when we shop local. So let's venture past the front door and get to know the passion behind these businesses. With this knowledge, we will undoubtedly want to support their dreams and maybe start one of our own. I would also like to preface that I want to learn about our guests as you do. So welcome to the Inside Leduc Podcast. So hello and welcome to Inside Leduc. My name is Tarah Flynn and I will be your host today. My intent to this podcast is to create a platform for businesses in the Leduc region to promote themselves and for us to not only learn about the products and service being offered, but also more about who we are supporting or buying from when we support local. So let's venture past the front door and get to know the passion behind these businesses. So with this knowledge, we will undoubtedly be inspired to support their dream and maybe pursue one of our own. I'd like to also preface that I want to get to know them as you get to know them. So I haven't done a lot of research. So welcome, Chandell. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Chandell.
Yay. All right. The owner of Under the Sun, located at 4915 50th Avenue here in town. So welcome. So tell me a little bit about your business. What is it that you do?
Well, we are a very diverse business. We have many different platforms. We actually are the first studio of its kind in all of Canada for a number of reasons. One, we're an accredited and non-accredited education facility. So I did write an LDC programming for Alberta education in glass art. So we teach stained glass, kiln, glass casting, torch, lampworking, and glass blowing here at our facility. I start working with kids as young as 5, and my oldest student to date has almost been 100. He'll be celebrating his 100th birthday here shortly. So hopefully we'll be able to have him back in studio in the near future. But we do manufacturing and education, from things as small as what we sell for $15 into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So from backsplashes, countertops, tiles, dishes, sculpture, yard art, windows, doors, if you can imagine it, we would love to design it and make it for you.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about the process about getting into the education. Was that quite a process? Was that always something that you were wanting to do, is get into the education part?
I've been involved in education for many, many years. I've been involved in glass production for over 40, but my previous hat to now living my dream was in healthcare. So I was an educator in healthcare. I did a lot of education worldwide in third world countries and in education and medicine. And so an education platform has been, quite part and parcel to part of my being well beyond the studio here.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, that's to be fair, I've heard lots of different people try to get into the education system, and it's quite the process, I was told. So
yeah. Was really kind of invited into it, just as world-renowned Connect presenter and with the Glass Art Society and community, and just with the number of things that I've done in humanitarian missions throughout the world in education and medicine. So I was blessed to be part of the Belize Literacy Project for over 10 years and working with Alberta teachers to build education in third world countries around the world. So there's a lot of our Alberta education that many people probably don't even realize are all over the world. So many textbooks that have been used here in the past that you think might go to landfills, we actually package them up and ship them around worldwide into developing countries. And our Alberta teachers work with those, teachers that are, up and coming in those developing countries.
Oh, I didn't know that.
World. So I was involved in that far beyond the ask to develop a glass art portion of the curriculum.
Oh, nice. So then how did that evolve into glass work? Like how did that glass art,
Well,
how did that evolve for you?
yeah, well, I started when I was very young. My grandma did stained glass, and my two favorite places on the farm was either in her glass room or finding treats behind her pantry door. And so she really was a big inspiration into what I do now. Actually, had she never exposed me to stained glass and that portion of the glass art world, this studio would not be here today.
Awesome. So what kind of stuff did you do with your grandma? Like, is it still in the same?
Well, it was very small scale compared to what we do here now. And I was quite young. So as she was sculpting out glass pieces, I was the assistant. I was the grinder girl or the wash girl or the fitting girl or, the sweeping up or vacuuming girl. So those types of things, how we started along. And then, as I got older, she would entrust me into a few other things along the way. And eventually, I worked in healthcare for almost 30 years, but my glass passion grew considerably throughout that whole time. I studied at the Bates and Eddy Glass Academy in Murano, Italy. And so my hot experience was really born and bred from Italian glassmakers that I am able to bring here to Leduc, Alberta.
That's crazy. That's so awesome. So you said that you went and taught in other places and you did that education stuff. So did you go to Italy to be a student or to help educate? And you just kind of mix the both?
I was here to, I was in Italy as a student. So very much from the student aspect.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. I didn't realize that it was such a worldwide thing. Like as a small little town of Leduc, you just think it's, but that's so awesome that it's such a worldwide and that there's classes for that in Italy. That's crazy. That's awesome. So what is the vision now moving forward with your business, given all your education and where you are?
Well, we are very much, I really want people to come experience glass in a whole new way. Part of our branding and our, business name is because things are absolutely endless and you can create anything under the sun. Once you know the chemistry and the science behind it all. And our whole mission and vision and values is really to, come in as strangers and leave as friends and, learn a whole bunch of wonderful things about glass and enjoy glass in a whole new way, whether you're a patron or you want to learn the craft and the trade of it all as well.
So when you have the students that come in, they field trip to you, or do you have space there, or how does that work with the school system?
So, well, it has been kind of turbulent times in this last little bit, but we love it when schools can come here as a field trip. We can do so much more with the kids than we can actually do going to a school because nothing light is in glass. Equipment's 800 to a ton, and it requires a lot of different specialized tools and equipment in order to manufacture and design and build a lot of things. There's a lot of math and chemistry behind working with glass. It's one of the most exciting and challenging materials to work with. And so when we can have kids in the studio here, we talk about, how is science made, how is glass made and the science behind it, and, build in the different components and have the big glass furnace roaring behind me in which, we have liquid molten glass out there. And then just take them through a few different other components. Then they get a really hands-on experience that's very diverse in not only stained glass, but kiln, glass formation, torch, lampworking, and glass blowing. And so they really get I like them to sit in the maestro seat and be a glass blower for a day
That's awesome.
if we can. So, and And then instead of doing individual projects, I love the class to work together on an art installation piece. One, it's cost effective and it becomes a legacy piece and a beautiful piece of artwork then that we gift then to the schools. And the kids all work on it together.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
it's a really fun, engaging, and interactive day. So I look forward to field trips coming back and having all that energy back in the studio.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, for sure. And you're in a great location for that as well, because there's a lot of schools that are walking distance. Like I know a big thing with field trips is buses when they can come back, obviously, but like buses, and you're really located really well for majority of the schools on this side of town to walk. It's only going to be as we grow west that they might have to bring in buses as well. So that's a good play.
Yeah.
Did you?
Well, location was key. Of course, finding a spot to house an active volcano of a roaring glass furnace was not an easy feat, but location was key. I am fortunate enough that I grew up in Leduc County, and this area has been my home as a child, and 49 years strong now type of thing. But Leduc is very central. We're close to the airport. I have students come from all over the world to study and learn here. We have partnerships with hotels, just to make, things really accessible and easy for people to get here, whether you're in, kind of an 80-kilometer area that's easy, commutable or not. We've tried to remove some of the barriers to that and be accessible. And we're really right smack in the middle of the province, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So things you don't think about when you're looking at a storefront that they've, bundled up with hotels to do projects and things like that's, definitely something that you never think about or you never thought would be something that would happen. So that's really awesome and well planned out. So tell me a little bit about this planning process when you knew that you wanted to start this business. So you have a lot of planning going on.
Yeah, it was probably well into 10 or 15 years in the making, thinking about how could I do this. I always knew that when I retired from healthcare, this would be my next chapter. So thank you and welcome to my next chapter and having a podcast. But, great art is one thing, but it's also important to have a great business and how to support, everybody's heard about the starving artists and stuff like that, right? So how do you create a platform and bring a very not well-known art form out into a community and invest it into? So working on a business case, I worked on that for years. But you really don't know what you don't know until you're in it and you grow. And so even though I did as much forecasting and planning and, risk management strategy, because I do have a master's in project management as well. I have 3 actual degrees, many that I'm not really applying these days in my next chapter, but have definitely helped me get from there to here. But having that business case and working on it and really thinking about the how to make and looking at it from a realistic lens and to having faith in yourself. So everything in life is a risk. Doesn't matter what you do. But there are some things that you can mitigate, not being rash and making knee-jerk reactions, looking at cause and effect and trying, putting it out there. Listening to people, the feedback. There's a lot of things that I didn't even think about and that's our little mini workshops, ladies night, date night. Those are things I didn't even, think about. I didn't think people would be interested in little mini education components because I've always been about, big trade, the big back end, all of that kind of stuff. Of course, we offer that. But all the little mini glass experiences for people as well. So we really kind of expanded in that realm. And just listening to people. What do you want? How can we be of service? How can we help you enjoy what we're doing here? We have a big area in the studio, 3 different diverse areas for members, areas for students, areas for patrons to be exploring the gallery, our manufacturing zone, our raw materials zone. We can have a private space for birthday parties, even while classes are going on. So just, having many different diverse things going on was important in that business plan way back when.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing I love about small business is that it's easier to pivot because there's, not a big group of people that you have to talk to about, creating these things, and you can move and ebb and flow to what your clients or customers are looking for. And I really admire that and love that about small business, is that's possibility. So I do know that we were looking for Christmas presents. My daughter was like all over the birthday party thing. So I think as a family, we're definitely going to be jumping into that because she still talks about it. So what is your favorite thing about running your business?
My favorite thing is probably all the people that I meet every day. The people that I get to work with and teach, and friendships that are born out of that. It's pretty priceless, actually.
That's awesome. And if you could do anything different, what would it be with all your degrees and
different? Oh, well, hindsight is always 2020. I'd have to say, irregardless to the current state of affairs that the world is in, I wouldn't change anything for a heartbeat. We just keep going.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. And why did you said you're born and raised in Leduc. Did you ever think about doing this anywhere outside of Leduc?
I did actually. My first studio was on my personal property. I probably put about 108 students through my studio there. But to have high school students come and earn credits towards their high school diploma, they can actually earn 40 out of their 100 credits right here learning glass art. And that would not be possible in a private location on a private property in my studio. So it always was the plan to expand into a commercial space so that I could really reach and connect with kids early on in life. So to get to where we are here today.
So you started with the education and then moved into the commercial sphere versus commercial, and then branched out and thought I could go into students. Like you actually started with, I'm going to be a teacher and help bring this world into education.
Well, I had my private studio. I had to become a sole proprietor. Oh boy, I have to think now. I think it was about 2014. My commissions were so large, I had to get legit. So I, established Under the Sun as a sole proprietorship, did markets and, just custom installations for people around the world. And then I had some ladies actually ask me at a market if I would teach them what I was doing. And I was like, well, I probably could. Let me explore how I could do that most effective for you in my current studio. And my current studio really had taken over my garage at that time. And so I expanded and built a side building on my property, and just kind of went from there, and it just slowly grew. And the demand was there. The people were reaching out to me from Prince Edward Island and New Zealand, all over the place. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I love knowledge translation. I love to share, and let's just work with this. And I really teach from a applied best science practice, and try to set everybody up for success. Doesn't matter if you're, I have many beginners doing pieces that probably people who would consider them not to brag, but people that would consider themselves 10 or 15 years into as an advanced artist, they're well beyond. I'm really, really proud of my students and what they're doing. I have students that haven't even been doing glass art for a year, and they're selling in studio as if, you know, they were 30 years in the making. It's just pretty remarkable.
I think a lot of it has to do with that language you just used. You said knowledge transfer. Like,
yeah, knowledge translation.
Translation, yeah. That was it. Like, it's not teaching for you. It's how you translate what you know to them. Like, I think just within that language, that I think that's where you're getting a lot of your success. I think that's a beautiful terminology, knowledge transfer. Like, I'm going to take that, because I think just in how you phrase that versus I'm teaching someone, like I'm transferring my knowledge.
You know, there's book smarts and then there's applied practice. You know, you can read as much as you can and gravitate that kind of thing, but you're really working with hands-on components. You're building chemistries together, you're doing applied heat, and a number of things affect what you're doing, especially in the hot world, depending on where you are in relation to you know, elevation levels, just like, you know, boiling points of water, those types of things. So
oh, wow.
Magnetic pull and elevation really play a part in a lot of what we do. So there's a lot of back end things that need to be shared. There's nothing worse than doing a hot piece and you've invested all kinds of time and material costs into it, and it's broken and it doesn't go anywhere, right? So that's still, you know, from time to time happens for me. It's part of the challenge. You know, I'm very fortunate that it's quite rare these days, but one of the biggest challenges with working with glass, it's completely, and you know, has a bit of, you know, it's the boss, let's put it that way.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Magnetic pull, really? Like where we are in regards to on the earth matters?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it does. We're working with different temperatures. It depends on what you're doing. In cold art, no, but in warm and hot work, yes. So if you're raking metals and stuff like that through a slab that's, you know, 2200 degrees, it's really important to know and to be conscientious of the different things that are going and how things are going to move. Physics plays a huge part in some of the things that we do.
That's so cool. I had no idea that even like magnetic, like that's crazy. Wow. So did you receive a lot of pushback when you said you were going to start this and do this business?
You know, there was probably more people that said, I don't know, you know, you should just save your savings and, you know, stay, you have a good career, you have a good pension coming your way. You know, I even had in shopping around at a bank, I had, I don't know if I should say which bank, that might not be very nice, but it was a gentleman it was an older gentleman, and he asked me where my husband was, and I was doing this by myself without a partner. He even went as far to say to me, well, who's going to do the cooking and cleaning? And I said, I'm pretty sure this conversation's over.
Oh my goodness.
It was a very interesting first time in my life that I actually saw, you know, as a woman being treated differently than a male. I actually can honestly say I never experienced that in my healthcare career, the diverse shift, but working with trades individuals, really didn't receive a lot of credibility as a female in the industry, but I'm glad that I showed them.
Yeah.
Actually, I took over a lot of the trade industry work because one, they didn't work fast enough and didn't have a proficient enough skill set, or, you know, the craftsmanship was right. So not really where the standard that I like to set.
Oh, that's awesome. So just persevering, or how else did you overcome those pushbacks?
You know, it would be a lie to say there was some times that I thought there's a reason why women in business, in art, don't do this. I, wouldn't be honest if I didn't say that there were some times that I thought, I don't think I can get this done or pull it off. But then I just did a little self-talk and I thought, look, you've got this, just stay the course. There's a lot of other things that are lining up in your favor. And, there's nothing better than proving everybody wrong.
Right. Yes. The power of a vision. If if you see it, you can achieve it. Right. So, what is so you've been doing this, you said to 2004, you mentioned?
Well, I started when I was 8 years old. I'm now
Right.
49. But my business was formalized in 2014.
2014.
And as a sole proprietorship. And then I incorporated in March of 2019 as part and parcel for coming into this commercial location.
So what has kept you doing this for so long? Is it just a passion driven, or is it the fact that you can mold and it moves, or what excites you?
I love to create beautiful things. It's a multi-level type of thing. I enjoy working with people, interacting with people. I love celebrating the things that they do and achieve. I like to kind of push the boundaries. I've always been that way, even from a kid, but of what I could do and build and design. And it's a challenge. And I love a challenge. And I love working with people. So it's a great partnership.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing like going to bed at the end of the night knowing that there's been something accomplished, or you've got to watch someone accomplish, right? So yeah. Keeps you motivated for sure. Was there any event that has been influential in the most influential moment in creating this or sustaining this vision for yourself?
Well, it's been really interesting times since I opened up. I don't actually qualify for a lot of the government support as a new business because I opened in September of 2019. It really just works on revenue numbers, right? From one month to another month. And so, just kind of keep going, irregardless of what isn't there. So for a lot, and I think there's, many businesses, if you're not 5 years in, there's really not much there for you. In the current times of our, the closures that we've had to endure. That being said, members of the studio here have really kept me going. Their stories of how, coming here, learning this, saved them, recovered them from depression and anxiety. And, so them sharing their stories was a driver, and, how they're looking forward to coming back. Kids that we had in our youth program, parents saying, this was the highlight of their life. I've never saw my child so happy. The time people just want, kids that have been here before stopped at the lights, waving or holding up signs saying that, I can't wait to come back. Those, it's little things like that, that are very heartfelt. Also, Christmas morning, the people that have supported me locally as an artist, and I thought Christmas morning, wow, all the people opening gifts that I made. It was really special. Yeah.
Aw, well, I do have to say it was loved in our house. It was bragged and shown on camera. It was
hard to get emotional.
Right? Oh, well, there's so much power behind that. And I never really thought about crafts in that way, or I'm a linear thinker, so that this is a new thing for me personally, but I can definitely see that attachment to that moment for someone else, for yourself. So I can absolutely feel that for you, that Christmas morning moment. Yeah. Cause there was a lot of people who shopped local.
Yeah, it was a huge blessing. Can't thank the community enough.
Yeah, well, we had a really good push for shop local. And when we were shopping local ourselves, it was I could definitely feel that our community grew and that we were proud supporters for that. And it made me very proud to be and call this place home, that we took that call and that we, you know, we utilized it. So, yeah. What is your biggest pivot since you started? You mentioned doing the small little things. Was there any other pivots that you've noticed you've had to do since you've started?
Well, 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Oh, right. And this is why we're taping in the store, so they can show us little treats and tidbits of things that are in their store, and we get to feel that environment that they are creating in their store as well. So, yeah.
Well, I might want to make sure all the lights are on. Is it possible to take you around a little bit?
Let's do it.
Okay, so, the people coming here to the studio and wanting to learn and explore, whether it's on a mini component or a large component, really drove me to expanding the studio in November. We didn't close down operations at all. We kept going, redesigned the hot shop, and opened up extra spaces. So my dad and I built 4 extra tables and opened up the walls and did all kinds of crazy things so we can, just expand it and be here for the community when we all can be back together again. And part of that was relocating our raw material supply. And so we expanded. We almost are 6,000 square feet.
Wow.
If I can flip this, there we go. So we have a raw materials zone. So that supports stained glass and warm glass applications. And so whether you make jewelry or mosaics or do stained glass, we have a huge zone that is just designed specific for raw materials. And as you can see, the possibilities in glass are endless. And I like to apply a lot of cost-effective things for beginners and working with them. So you can start getting into this from a supplies standpoint, probably for around $50. And we really like to work with individuals to show them how to balance in components of glass to making it feasible, no matter what you want to do. So we have our raw materials zone that we can flip out and have special events in here as well. All of our tables are on wheels.
Okay.
And so we can have extra parties. This is our hot shop, and we open it up so that once we can get back to glass blowing and running things, people can watch from the area. As well. So our glass furnace is back in that area as well. Some classes can be hosted in this specific area, primarily for our fusion. As a student or member of the studio, you can store all of your projects on site here. You don't need to pack things back and forth unless you so choose. But we have moved so much handmade, high quality glass artwork that we've expanded. This area here will be future home of extra gallery components. And then we can bring in extra tables in here as well. So just increasing, these tables are 4x8, so they're quite large.
Yeah.
And we have a HEPA filter air system in here because we do so many different things. We have the cleanest, purest air. So it doesn't matter what, health condition you may have. I have some members that have cancer that are on oxygen or nothing, and they love being here. They use this as a maker space as well. So I don't have any torches set up right now, but this is our dedicated torch table where we can run up to 11 torches. So it is quite a large facility. Mm-hmm. And I like to make sure that our students are working with the best professional equipment out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we just really expanded our gallery and studio space. One for our shopping area, and then for our student and members area as well. So we can have 3 different zones of people and have, if the physical distancing is required to go on longer than necessary, we definitely are a facility to accommodate that.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. So when you
Yeah.
say like, the 3 different separate tables, you're for 3 different activities that they can do, like you mentioned torched on the one, like, is that?
Yeah, so we could have the torches going over here and people distanced. We could have members over here. We could have a class over here as well. And then we could have a birthday party back in that other zone, if so be it. So just having, dividing people up is really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you have quite a few staff members who are also like open to training and stuff, or how do you, with those different areas, like, how does that work for you?
Until we can have all of our people in workshops back, a lot of my staff are unfortunately on EI right now. And, I'm fortunate enough to have a great family helping and supporting me. My mom and dad help me out, and my daughter works with me on the business back end, doing all of our social media and looking after the website for me.
That's nice. Yes. Well, and that's it, right? If you have to cut your cost, labor is usually the first place to go, because it's right?
So, I know I'm not the only small business, but I don't think necessarily people realize what it takes to run a small business. I'm here well over 14 hours a day, many days working 6 or 7 days a week. I looked back since May of 2019, I've only taken 6 days off.
Wow. Right. And
it's a different type of work, right? So it's different, right?
Yeah.
But it is a reality.
Yeah.
It is a reality.
It's a passion project, so as much as you work, it's passion. So there isn't work, but it's enjoyable work. It's not work for someone else. Right. So, but 6 days, that's not very many. So is there any way that us as a community can support you moving forward, or is there a vision on like our role for you, given this platform, that you'd like to,
I think it's, thank you to the community. Continue to support us as you're supporting us. Even if you don't shop with us or, have a class with us, giving a shout out, doing a Google review, following us on social media or Instagram, sharing and promoting out. Word of mouth is always, really I've found is the best form of advertisement. And if you like what we're doing, whether or not it's personally for you or not, just sharing that experience out with your circle, because that matters.
It does. Yeah. Word of mouth. Right. I noticed when you were walking around, there's those really big sheets of glass. What projects would those be? Like, they were like almost as tall as me, they look like.
Yeah. It's actually how we bring raw materials in. Okay. And those, if we don't pour our own slabs of glass here and we bring them in from other manufacturers,